resistance to tyrants, his obedience to God. It's Alex Jones.
You know, I like Christian Bale. I think he's a really good actor. I liked him back when I was a kid, watching him in the remake with Charlton Heston of Treasure Island. And it's also strange. We were born within a month of each other in 1974. We're the same Chinese, I guess, and zodiac signs or whatever. And I'm not really putting stock in that stuff, but it's interesting. But Christian Bale likes to play these big anti-tyrant heroes in movies. So he was in a film that I saw last night with my son and wife that I thought was excellent, very historical, and very, very well done, called The Promise. And in a moment, I'm going to play that trailer. But look at this article from the London Independent. And reportedly, he's attacked me, he's attacked Cernovich, he's attacked others, and some Daily Beast articles and things that we're terrible people. We're the post-truth. Really, buddy? Well, I'm being persecuted. I have the state, openly in the media saying, take my children away for my views. And the media and the corporate minions and the Stephen Colbert's, the fake news reporters, misrepresent what I say and what I believe. And then people like you come out and attack us. Here it is. Christian Bale on Donald Trump's dictatorship for dummies. He says we live in a post-truth era. That's what the New York Times, the Washington Post say, that democracy dies in the dark. Mr. Bale, Trump's far from perfect, but he's bringing the sovereignty back to this country. And the talking point that he's a dictator is a fraud. And you're the ones in Hollywood criticizing him for not wanting to bring Muslims in from 7 unvetted countries like Somalia, Sudan, and Libya that are failed states where they still sell women into slavery and where they kill Christians and others. You were just in a powerful film, The Promise, about the Armenian genocide, where the Young Turks was the name of the political party, went around murdering and killing people, and finally the government joined in during World War I, killing the Christians. That's what Muslims have done in every country. That's what's happening in Syria right now with the rebels our government's been backing until Trump got in. So for you to call Trump a dictator for trying to stop unvetted Islamists coming in when you just starred in a movie about the true extermination of 1.5 million Christian Armenians is unbelievable. You, my friend, are the one that want to pose as a hero with some historical thing that really happened, but then in the real world actually aid Turkey that's threatening to burn down Europe and saying they'll have an Islamist takeover and a jihad if Europe doesn't open its borders to Turkey and submit to them when Erdogan is part 2 of the Young Turks. So learn some history and stop acting like a pseudo-intellectual fop. Stop being a fake liberal, Christian Bale, okay? You're a disgrace to yourself, and you're following Hollywood talking points when Hollywood's been bought by the communist Chinese and the globalist and is an anti-American, anti-human, illiberal institution. Now, here's the trailer for The Promise.
Tell me about Constantinople.
It can be magical. In the Grand Bazaar, you could buy the finest fashions from Paris and London, the latest automobiles from America. It can be horrible, too, just like any great city.
Were you happy there?
It was a different life.
A toast to old friends and new.
Christopher Myers.
Chris is a star reporter for the Associated Press.
May I introduce Mademoiselle Annika Sari?
You're going to become a doctor.
I hear a French accent.
I lived in Paris for many years, but I'm a proud Armenian.
You know what's incredible? In the movie, Bale's like, these Islamists are killing all the Christians.
To declare holy war.
They got to be stopped. They're killing everybody. You're crazy.
Oh my God, what was that?
It's like Alex Jones. But see, I'm in the real world. Bale just plays people.
Armenians right now.
There's the Young Turks.
This is our opportunity. We will restore the great Ottoman Empire.
We cannot be here. We must leave.
What is the Associated Press doing here, Mr. Myers?
Reporting.
But see, now he attacks the real journalist fighting part 2 of this.
There is no war here.
100 years later.
There is the evacuation of the civilian population to a
They line up kids, blow their heads off, you name it. It's powerful. It's powerful.
As a cover.
You trust no one. I have to get us out of here before there's no time left.
He wants us to help his family escape. We have to help them.
I'm a witness to history.
How wonderful it must be to go back to the comfort of your American home and write about it.
We will make a stand, but we'll fight them from every rock.
Our revenge will be to survive.
We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the info war. You need to understand what we're facing. Christian Bale is the definition of a fake, the definition of a hypocrite, the definition of someone playing what he in reality isn't. He's on the side of the Islamicists.
Something that is very important that we all have to understand is when you give up, your enemy always takes that as a sign of weakness and attacks you. Anytime the Armenians fought back, the Jews fought back during the Holocaust, the Americans fought back in 1776. Every time you fight back, you win. Every time you submit, you lose. That's just a general fact of humanity.
Andrew in Boston wants to talk about the Armenian genocide. I talked about that earlier. And Christian Bale, who says Trump's a dictator when he's not, and criticizes him for blocking unvetted Muslims coming in, when he's in a movie about the historic Muslims in 1914, 15, 16, 17, 18, murdering over 1.5 million peaceful Armenians. Christians who'd been there before the Muslims took over Turkey. So, Bale, you can't have it both ways, bro. We're fighting the modern caliphate here. They're the ones that aren't tolerant, not us, Bale. Go ahead, Andrew.
Thank you very much for taking my call, Alex.
Thank you, brother.
I just want to touch upon, because you talk about the Armenian genocide, and it's so important that you bring it up. Your credibility goes up when talking about this. So just a bit of history for the viewers. They murdered and they rounded up 250 intellectuals, Armenians, doctors and lawyers. And so I see they're doing the same thing with you and Cernovich. They're trying to assassinate your character. They're trying to get rid of you because you are the spiritual and intellectual leaders of the freedom movement. So I think it's very important that you touch upon this. And I really recommend all the readers and the listeners to go to YouTube, look up Armenian genocide and educate yourselves. And one more thing I want to put up, Alex. They always put up all this American guilt of not accepting immigrants. America, the United States, was the first nation that accepted the Christian Armenian immigrants. And they said they shall not perish. They had a campaign. And they brought in these Christian Armenians. And what did the Armenian immigrants do? They assimilated. They created the MRI machine in World War I. The father of modern plastic surgery was an Armenian. So America took them in, and look what happened. In a few small years of liberty and freedom that the Americans gave, we contributed back to society. So I think that's very important.
That's right. Statistically, Armenians, I've read it, are one of the most wealthy, successful groups through innovation and development, a very ancient culture. And I want to do a whole special, not just on the Armenians, but other Christians over the 1,000 years of Islamic control that they wiped out in Turkey. That was the, Eastern Holy Roman Empire. People don't know. This is the heart of Christianity and how Armenia invented Christendom. People don't understand this, and America brought them here. We'll bring people here that want to have a free country, but sorry, the Muslims always act like they're nice till their numbers get high enough, and then they start killing. It's a fact. Does it mean there aren't some nice Muslims? Sure, but they're not the ones that are in control. That's not my opinion. That's a fact, Andrew.
Absolutely. And so I just want to touch upon, I am a doctor. I'm doing a research at a Harvard teaching hospital here. And I just see the attacks happening. So the InfoWars website, which I used to be able to visit, has now been blocked. It's called a forbidden website. So you can go on CNN.com, you can go on Salon.com, but Infowars.com is blocked. So I can tell you also that Liver Shield, some of these products that I've actually tried, I've experimented with, they help absolutely. So I honestly think it's very important to support your broadcast, but actually this stuff works. One more thing, Alex, before I have you, while I have you, I really, if I can give you some advice, because I really enjoy watching when you did the video on the Taiwan call with China and you talk about the history and geopolitics and Shanghai Shek and the communists. If you could do some more videos about that, because you have a lot of new listeners and we really soak up this information because we're so hungry for it and we don't see it in the mainstream media. So if that's some advice I can give you, and some advice to President Trump, I think he really needs to watch his six with Jared Kushner, Gary Cohn. I think these people, they call them so-called centrists, I think they're just the opposite side of the same dirty coin.
Sure, they're the fifth column. Really, do you personally have an Armenian background?
I do. So I was raised in Australia, but my parents came from the Soviet Union, and so we know what communism. So when they would actually take you, they would interrogate you and say you're the spy of the Soviet Union, and they'll take you to the gulags. And I used to ask.
Well, that's it. For those that don't know, with Armenians or in Russia or anywhere, first they don't let you publish, then they put you in ghettos, then they arrest your leaders, then they arrest your young men, then your old men, then they rape and kill your daughters and your wives. This is the same paradigm, and the globalists are openly coming. And I'm not scared. I believe America's going to rally. We're going to defend. But people need to know, I can't talk about a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but everybody just saw what the media did, coming in, openly trying to influence things, openly reveling and trying to take my children away. And it's much worse than that behind the scenes. I'm not at liberty yet to talk about it, but we've discovered what they're doing. We didn't just get the Google documents. We've gotten some other bombshell stuff that's so damning that I've got top people involved in what we're going to do. But folks need to understand, it's a miracle Trump's gotten done what he's done. Overall, he's gotten so much done. There's no way he's not for real, or the enemy wouldn't be trying to bring him down. What do you think?
I absolutely agree with you. There's nothing else to say to that. But one more thing, Alex, I'm really enjoying this conversation. Something that is very important that we all have to understand is when you give up, your enemy always takes that as a sign of weakness and attacks you. Anytime the Armenians fought back, the Jews fought back during the Holocaust, the Americans fought back in 1776. Every time you fight back, you win. Every time you submit, you lose. That's just a general fact of humanity. So I think we all have to support your broadcast.
I totally agree. Let me ask you this in closing, and I'm sorry the other callers are out of time. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Let me ask you this. What do you make of Christian Bale being in this great movie, and then he's complaining about Trump blocking Muslims from 7 unvetted countries?
So I think it's one of those things where a lot of these liberals, they're well-intentioned, but they live in such a bubble, and they consume the same kind of information that's force-fed through them very intelligently and very subtly. So I think he's just a victim of this kind of media manipulation where you had Edward Bernays kind of with the public relations telling us, this is how we have to trick the people. And all
That's right. That's right. We're out of time. The Armenians, folks, are one of the small remnants of most ancient Christians that the globalists tried to wipe out. And they want to wipe us all out no matter what color we are. We're together in our love of Christ. I want to thank the crew and everybody else. Back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, if I'm still here. We love you all. Thank you. Alex Jones here to tell you about how you can help spread liberty worldwide while also enjoying what I have found to be the best tasting 100% organic coffee on the planet. For more than a decade, my favorite coffee has come from the high mountains of southern Mexico, where the Chiapas farmers grow their unique shade-grown Arabica beans. We have now managed to secure these sought-after beans in a highly customized blend. Discover and try a bag of the Patriot Blend 100% organic coffee at InfoWarsLife.com. This coffee gives you a long, smooth pick-me-up for hours without the headaches and heartburn that so many other coffees give me personally. Hands down, this is my favorite coffee, and it's taken us years to secure connections directly to the Chiapas Mexican farmers. Drop by the site today, order a bag or two, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Available in original or with our immune support infusion blend. You will be supporting a free press, all the while enjoying a truly great tasting cup of my favorite coffee. Available at InfoWarsLife.com.